but
I don't get to talk about that much, so I really enjoy talking about it.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
We should have told Tom about that. We'll have to save it for next time. When you and me set the load of gear with Saul.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I totally that was the best one.
Oh, we have to talk about you.
Oh fuck!
You guys, we're still recording on the Zoom, and no, that's fine, and that's fine. I mean, it's cool. We're not on the radio, but again, yeah, there's a lot of stories here, and we've all.
I mean, because is I keep on telling Jake is how to pivot. Life moves on, but how you pivot into that next phase, and the thing is, I mean, I truly believe in my heart that Jake and I can truly affect many people's lives. One is sharing our story, with mental health, suicide, me, speech, but two is really, really helping people how they work as effective teams, how they communicate better, and how to connect at the heart. Because at the end of the day, we need more love and compassion in this world. And now it's just black and white.
Well, you know what, Jake, I wanted to mention to you that last night at dinner, when we went to dinner with Jen and Tony, he mentioned how working on your, is it a ship or is it a boat? How do you guys?
Kind of both.
Okay, so when he's working on your boat and he's working for you, how the teamwork is so, and he mentioned a little bit about his team in the operating room, but your team on the boat is actually more impressive because you have, the people. And Tony was saying how, in healthcare, you get different, it's like having a group of all-stars all the time coming in and this rotating roster of people. And how would you like it if on your boat, you stopped at the island and you picked up, a new crew every time you stopped?
It sucks. When you fish gray cod, when you fish gray cod and you run 24/7 operation and you have a relief skipper and you have rotating crew, it's similar to that. And it's a fucking nightmare because you're like, oh shit, I got that guy. That guy's not going to work for this thing. And now why can't I get that guy out here right now? Because I want to put that guy over here. And it's just a constant calamity. And a lot more problems happen in those moments than they do when I have the same team, the same people, because we all know when Joe's getting tired and he's probably going to twist his leg. Oh, it's about that time. All right. Hey, let's go inside and get something to eat, guys, and then, or however it works, like you can see, we have one of the 24/7 operations on the show, and there's always a lot of injuries. And I attribute it one with that because you have so many new people coming in and on shift that they have to get acclimated. Even I do when I go up into the wheelhouse after a run. I have to look at my everything and figure out what's going on. Well, that's no different than somebody going into, like when I went to a spinal surgery and watching some other person come in. Didn't matter how good they were, you still got to figure out what the hell's going on and what part of the surgery you're in.
That's what Tony was saying. That's what he was saying last night at dinner. It was like, yeah, you would have and they're all stars. Everybody's an all-star in their own way, but it's the team, it's the group. It's like no one and having each other's back.
Yeah, well, but the other important thing is in the operating room, there is a lot more egos than you think. When you're on that boat, even though there may be egos, but literally, if you have an ego, someone's going to actually get hurt. And so there's no ego. There's no ego. There's one team. Everyone has their back.
Oh, it's deadly, Tom. Ego is. It helps in certain situations to power you through things like the ice, but you have to know how to deal with it. A perfect example is Exxon Valdez. That was a problem that happened due to ego. The captain was sleeping in his room, but it was the third mate who told the chief mate, hey, I don't think the autopilot's working. And the chief mate said, well, what do you know? You're below me. And next thing you know, the chief mate ran the boat aground. He's the one that did the damage. Nobody ever remembered him. And that's a perfect example of what can go wrong in the operating room as well, especially when you have these people that have invested so much money in schooling and everything, and you have Tony there actually trying to watch over as he's working. It'd probably be different if we put Tony in a window watching it with a hailer and said, "Hey, listen, dickhead, what are you doing? Get that goddamn rag out of there. You two shut up over there. Nobody cares about how good you are. You two out. You bring in so-and-so." Instead, you got Tony who's got to sit there and rewire this individual as he's trying to manage these people. He looks to his right and there's already 3 new people in the room. Every time he looks, there's somebody new. Like,
let me ask both you guys this, because it just made me think of something. What do you do? How do you not get pissed off when you're in the middle of something that's like really intense and you're like in the moment and you can't lose your cool, but you're fucking boiling? And it's like, God dang it. Okay, first you, Tony, how do you deal with that in the operating room? How do you keep your emotions in check? I mean, on a boat, Jake, it's probably the same thing with you, but Tony, how do you do it? You first.
Yeah, the thing is, it's important to stay calm, is because once you're, is you have to take the emotion out of it, and because
how do you do that?
Yeah, it's just practice. It is because in the operating, you really have to be calm, and on the boat too. I mean, Jake and the crew, I mean, they're very calm. I mean, it's
Jake, is it just reps? Because I'm a trainer as well, and I try to help people understand that the more reps that you get, the better you get at these things. Just like your skateboarding career, just like everything you've talked about. But is it just reps? How do you keep your emotions in check when you're rolling in the Bering Sea? That's just got to be, to me, I have a hard time conceptualizing that whole thing. How do you do it?
I think you just have to know yourself, because I'm not perfect at it. And one thing that's nice about me that differs from Tony is Tony's right next to everybody, and he has rules. As a captain, I'm in charge of my own. That's my own country. Like, I can arrest people, I can do whatever I want. Plus, I'm hidden back in the wheelhouse. So when you have a television show filming it happens a little different. Like, I can not yell at the crew. Like, let's say where I have emotional problems is safety. When I see people breaching safety protocol, and I've told them time and time again, well, I have the option to release my stress and anger in the wheelhouse. I start screaming. I'll scream in the wheelhouse. They won't know it, but I'll have to get it out. Plus, I'm highly aggressive. So, I'm trying to get through hours and hours. Like, my day starts and I don't know when it's going to end. It could be 70 hours. It could be 12 hours. It could be, who knows? So the hardest thing I deal with is the same thing I think people will deal with, and that's management of people, because you can't control them. And so when they start doing their things and risking lives of other people, that's usually where my emotions really I struggle with it. And like you were just saying, and Tony was just saying it, I have to practice it all the time. I don't even think I'm good at it. I'm good with like big waves and being in full control of my crew and everything, and possibly dying that way. But once you start seeing people doing things, we don't have control of each other. We only have the perception of control of each other.
Right. So how do you teach? I mean, when you're on a boat like that, do you take people that are like a Tony, who is a greenhorn? Is that what you say, a greenhorn? How do you, that's just got to be stressful as hell for you to just not know, because of the safety features. I mean, do you put them through classes first? How do you know that these people at least know anything?
So what I do is I take an athletic approach to it,
right?
Because crab fishing is fun that way, because it's a sport, and you can train at the dock. Well, people laugh at me a lot. because I will literally do the job at the dock in a controlled environment. We bring Tony in, and Tony shows us all how to do stitches. It's really very simple. It's just people don't want to do that. They think it's beneath them, especially in like crab fishing. This isn't a sport. Well, that's why we're better than you, is because when we go to the dock, we work to become better, whether it's at setting goals for ourselves in the future, or learning stitches, or practicing firefighting, or practicing how to set pots or bait pots, because we'll bait at the dock. That's the first thing Tony did, was bait the pots up at the dock when there was no pressure.
Yeah,
And so a lot of that, people
all
will
those
go out and
bags.
drink instead. And they make it really easy, Tom, to really just pass them by. And that's how I did it so fast. The people are successful because they want to be successful. I'm good at the dishes because I go and I get a cup of coffee and I get my stuff ready. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do the dishes real well, right? Most people don't do that. They don't. They go into college and they're like, I'm gonna get said degree. But what do you want to do? Well, I don't really want to do that, but I just want the money and the prestige. Well, then why the hell are you doing that?
That's why,
Like, you're gonna fail miserably.
that's where people need to read your book, because in your book, you talk about that, where you had to climb and earn the right to do this next job. And you did that next job once you got your first job done, and it was done efficiently and complete. Then you could go volunteer to go do the next thing to prove that you were worthy of climbing the ladder, right? I mean, that's the takeaway I got from your captains that you trained under.
The boat that I was on didn't need me. You know, they wanted me just really for TV. Subsequently, they wanted somebody to just do bait. They didn't want to take the time to train anybody. Well, I was hungry. I wanted to go places. And some boats, if you get on like some boats, it's great because you'll have people quitting all the time and you can move up. Like, I was watching some of my friends, they were becoming engineers right away because of the boats they were on. And well, we didn't have that. So I had to do my job. And then if I had any energy left, I had to do the next job. And that's the only time I could do that job, because that, and if I made too much TV, it took away from the owners who were making TV too. So it was a way to, it worked beautifully, but I don't think the intention for me to get better that way was not, that was not the way of the leadership. That was just a result of me powering through all their defenses to,
It's your
they just
desire.
wanted me to do what they said. And I was like, no, I am going to learn this stuff and I'm going to go where I want to go. And
Yeah, you set your own parameters and you set your growth pattern. And Tony, I want to ask you, because the same thing goes with your surgical skills. I mean, you just got to put in the reps, right? I mean, you got to just, that's where these residents and all, all the, I don't even know how many years of school.
No, but I think you have to be willing to give them some leeway. And the thing is I like actually Jake probably gives some leeway, and I don't step in until I know that someone may get hurt, and and so I think that's why that safety is freedom is because for me is, in order to learn, you have to do it, but you have to do it in a safe zone. And I think, like Jake said, is you're doing it on dock, first, as I remember, I mean, I did what, 60, 80 bait bags, I mean,
no, you did there was 200. We had 200
okay,
pots,
whatever it was.
or maybe it was 100 and then you did 100 again.
I don't remember, but packing that heroin, and then fucking Jake and Joe and other people, come on, pack the bag. You need fucking kids in there. And I'm like, fucking guys, I'm doing it. No, you gotta more. And I said, I can't fucking lift it. I mean,
Dude, Tom, I can't wait till you hear the story when Tony tells you about the next season he came out with me when the crew tested positive for COVID.
yeah.
And here I'm sitting, Tom, I'm sitting talking to production, right? About the COVID tests themselves, right? And Tony just came as the chief medical officer for oh my God, Michigan State. And I'm talking to this line producer, and I'm like, are those PCR tests? Because Tony's asking me the questions to ask him, and they're like, yes. And Tony's like, yeah, I don't think they are. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not sure if I can trust those tests. I want to test again because I've got the chief medical officer from Michigan State, and I'm pretty sure he knows more than anybody in the state of Alaska about this stuff. And she goes, I highly doubt that. And Tom, I went fucking crazy on the phone. I go, just give me the fucking information about the test, you fucking bitch. I was name dropping, Tom, you know. I was like, he's a fucking neurosurgeon. Anyway, we go out, right? So they quarantine my three top people.
Oh no!
In a container, right? A container housing, like a shipping container.
It's
snow out. There was rats in the thing, right? And this is how production treated our team. But we were okay with it because we're the SOG. We were like, okay, you know. Of course, they give Northwestern's team that got it. They gave them a nice room, and they got fed steak. And here my people are. They won't even bring them over lunch and dinner on time or breakfast, and they're the ones that caused them to be in the quarantine, because otherwise without the show they would have been able to work because they're essential. And so I'm like, fuck it, we're going out, Tony. We're gonna go out shorthanded, me, the greenhorn, and the summertime engineer who doesn't know anything really about dealing with pots, and we're gonna set this fucking gear. Well, the production company is like,
what are pots?
Those are the crab pots.
So you drop them in the water or something? That's how you catch the crabs? I don't mean to sound complete dumbass.
No. They're 800-pound steel square pots, basically. Each of them is about 800 pounds. They're huge. And they've been known to kill people all the time. And
you got Dr. 5 million on your shorthanded staff?
Yeah, so we're going out there. Tony, right? He's done a little bit, but you know, and the engineer who's done even less, the summertime engineer who's done less than Tony and knows less about it because he's involved in the boats. He's not involved in the fishing. He doesn't care about the actual fishing, where Tony does. Anyway, so you got Tom, who's been there with me at the time for about 4 or 5 years, been around boats for 40 years. And then you have Saul, who's like an ex meth head prison inmate, right? And he's a young guy. He's like 22 or whatever. He's bunked with this neurosurgeon. He's talking about freaking raping people and all this, like,
it was crazy. I mean, wasn't it?
I can't tell if it's a joke or not, and he scared the shit out of me.
Oh my God. We're going to be able to put this on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I think we can. I think this is going to be like some classic shit here. Sandy just brought me a note and she said, you guys should record another episode right now. But I gotta, it's like, no, I'm not going to.
The Tony being a possible rape victim is the least of our concerns at this time. I mean, we actually have real shit to worry about. Like, we're about to go out with an insufficient crew, with inexperience, and guess the worst part, it's blowing northeast like 40 knots, and we got to travel for over 24 hours in heavy freezing spray with a full load of gear on. Most dangerous conditions that you could possibly travel in. And here we go. We go out. We get out there to set the gear. And Tom, the engineer, who's been telling us, I've been around boats for 40 years, I can crab. He takes one look at the block of ice that is now the crab pots. And we're talking, this is an entire building that is now ice. It's like breaking ice off your entire house, including the roof. And not just the roof is going up and down 20, 30 feet, and it's going side to side 20, 30 feet. So you have to climb up on the roof, and it's ice, and you have to break it all off, or you're gonna fucking die. Anyway, I go outside, and the greenhorn's out there, Saul, you know, the rapist, the possible rapist that we don't know.
Allegedly.
Oh, the alleged rapist.
Let's say allegedly, so we're covered here, okay? Allegedly.
I don't think he ever raped anybody, but he was here talking prison talk that Tony scared the living shit out of him.
I mean,
Talking about male on male rape and prison stories, and I fucking was just couldn't stop laughing because I wasn't afraid. But I'm used to that violent atmosphere, work atmosphere. You know, there's no OSHA out there for crabbers.